Thank you for joining. So welcome to the first virtual symposium, Youth for Intercultural Understanding, sponsored by Global Youth Philanthropy. My name is Summer Sun. I'm a high school junior from California in the United States, and I'm a GYP Students Association board member. And I'm also honored to be the president of the Youth for Intercultural Understanding program and also the host for the first virtual symposium. And again, thank you very much to everyone who's joining us. So this is just the meeting agenda that we're gonna have for today. So I just want to start off by first welcoming everyone and maybe introduce yourself to each other in the chat. So maybe you could type like, oh, like for me, I'm a high school student from California. Like maybe if you're a college student from Japan or you're a parent from China. For now, we would like everyone to stay muted, but you are welcome to turn on your camera, which it's very nice to see each other's faces and get your faces familiar with each other, see what you all look like. And then we'll have a quick introduction to the Global Youth Philanthropy and the Intercultural Symposium. Then we'll welcome our lovely guest speaker, Tagreed, to give her presentation. And lastly, and most importantly, we will get into our discussion part where everyone will have a chance to ask questions, share ideas either by chat, or you can also unmute yourself. But for now, we would like everyone to keep themselves muted, but please turn your camera on if you're able to do so. I'm going to make my introduction right now. Awesome. It's so cool to see everybody in the chat. Very nice. We have a couple of people from Boston. That's really cool. I've never been there, but I feel like I really want to go to Boston. I've been to Massachusetts before, but I've never actually been to Boston. Okay, sweet. Everybody, you guys can keep making your introductions in the chat, but for the purposes of time, we are going to move on, but please keep on introducing yourself. So I'm just going to quickly overview the mission of GYP, which is Global Youth Philanthropy. So Global Youth Philanthropy is a nonprofit organization, and we have the mission of providing a platform and opportunities for youth to learn about philanthropy as a tool for creating social change and also character building. And we try to help younger students gain large world perspectives and leaderships through volunteer experiences. We also promote communication and collaboration among youth philanthropic organizations around the world. So about the Youth for Intercultural Understanding Virtual Symposium, it's a student-run long-term program and will be held roughly once a month. And this is our first one, so it's super exciting. And it has the following 4 objectives. We're providing opportunities for youth to know cultures and traditions around the world, promoting respect and understanding for cultural diversity, building human connections, communication and compassion, fostering global citizenship and leadership towards a culture of peace. After this meeting, you're going to receive a GYP certificate of participation for cultural competence to show that you came here, you listened, and you discussed, and you were an active participant of this lecture, of this talk. You can submit and publish your reflections and opinions on blogs so that you can share them to people all around the world. And people can read them, can listen to them. And also, if you are interested, you could also become a guest speaker for future symposiums. So that's something that you can gain after this meeting. So the second symposium will be on June 18th in the United States and June 19th in China because of the time difference. And it's going to focus on Japanese culture and traditional architecture. We also have a GYP AI coding program. If you're interested in coding, you could be either a student to take the course, or you could also become a paid tutor, which is very nice. And lastly, we also have our GYP Visual Art Show. And although this year's submissions has been closed already, the show will be available online and in Boston. And if you're interested, please scan both the GYP QR code, the international, it's right here. Yes, here we go. It is right here. This code you guys can scan here. And yeah, if you're interested in joining another intercultural symposium again. So now it is my pleasure to introduce our guest speaker, Tagreed Iftikhar, who's an exchange student from Pakistan. And before Tagreed starts talking, I would just like to talk about Tagreed a little bit. So Tagreed Iftikhar, she's an exchange student from Pakistan, and she's currently studying at high school in California. And her study is sponsored by a US government-funded exchange program. And in the past 9 months that I've gotten to know Tagreed, since we go to the same high school together, I've found I feel very lucky to get to know her. She's come to America from Pakistan, but at the same time, I also feel so lucky that Tagreed chose America to come to, and that we've gotten to get to know her. I think all of Chico High feels so lucky to have Tagreed at our school. She's very kind, she's very engaging, and she's very open. So if you have any questions, please do not hesitate to ask Tagreed in the chat. And I found that she's such a joy to speak with. So before Tagreed's presentation, before I hand over the mic to her, I would like to remind everyone that during her talk, please do not ask questions using your microphone, because this is her time to shine. This is her time to speak. So make sure that you have time to listen, but you are encouraged to submit your questions by chat. So you can write down your questions and ideas, and you can put them in the chat, and Tagreed will answer them later. We're going to have around 20 to 25 minutes to answer questions. So that's plenty of time for her to answer all your questions at the end. And yeah, awesome. So now it's time for us to welcome Tagreed and learn about Pakistani culture and her experiences. I'm going to pull up the slide right now, Tagreed.
Hello, everyone. Summer, thank you so much for the lovely introduction. Okay, so hello, everyone. As you know by the introduction, I'm Tagreed. I'm an exchange student from Pakistan, and I'm so glad that I have this opportunity to tell you guys about my culture, about the country I come from, and share my experience of being an exchange student. Next slide. Okay, so when I first got to America, it was very difficult for people to pronounce my name, and everyone had their own pronunciation for my name. So for you guys, I kind of made this slide so that you guys know what my name is. So my name is Tagreed Iftikhar, and it's pronounced as Tagreed and Iftikhar. So yeah. Okay, so I came to America and it was a very long flight. I had to fly over a lot of cities and basically all across the globe. I flew from the capital of my country, Islamabad. Then I went to Qatar, Washington, D.C., Chicago, Sacramento, and then finally I got to Chico after 3 days of travel. Yes, so goodbye to my family was a very hard part because I was 16 when I came to America, and I'd never been out of my city. I'd never been out of my country. So it was a very hard one. And coming to America alone, I had a lot of fears in my heart, and I had no clue how I'm going to do things. But here I am talking to you all today. So that's my family back home, my sisters and my parents, and my uncle and my aunt. And meeting my host family, I feel very lucky that I can say that I have two families and I have two homes. This is my host family, and I am living with them for 9 months. And I'm so sad that I'm going to be leaving them in a week because I'm going back to Pakistan in a week. Okay, so this is a question for you guys. You can answer later. Like, what is the first thing that comes to your mind when you hear the word Pakistan, or what do you think about it? So, if you guys want to answer that, that's my question to you guys for later. Okay, so the location of Pakistan on the world map is shown in this slide. And when I was presenting it in my classes, a lot of people said that it looks like a dinosaur, like the map of Pakistan looks like a giant dinosaur. So that was very funny, and I never noticed it before. But yeah, it does look like a dinosaur without the four arms. And but yeah, it was very cool. And that's the location. It's right, we share borders with India, China, Afghanistan, and the Arabian Sea in the south. So I'm going to tell you guys the national language of Pakistan. The national language of Pakistan is Urdu. It's basically a mixture of there are some words in Urdu from Arabic, some words from Turkish, some words from Hindi. So it's basically a mixture of all the languages, and it's a very beautiful language. I'll say my name is Tagreed in Urdu for you guys. Mera naam Tagreed hai. And the national dress is kameez shalwar. As you can see in the picture, the kameez is basically the shirt that women wear, and the shalwar is the trousers. So that's the dress shown in the picture. So in Pakistan, Islam is the main religion. However, there are minority religions as well. And a few of them are Sikhism, Hinduism, and Christianity. And in the flag of Pakistan, we have two colors, green and white. I'm wearing green and white. The green represents the Muslim majority population, and the white represents the minority populations. The currency of Pakistan is called rupee, and we call our money notes and coins. Shown in the slide is 1,000 rupee note, 100 rupee note, and a 2 rupee coin. And on the coin, there's a mosque. It's a very famous mosque in one of the cities of Pakistan, and it was built in the Mughal emperor. It was built in the Mughal era, and it holds very significant place in the history of Pakistan. Some of the fascinating facts about Pakistan. Pakistan is home to the second highest peak in the whole world, K2. A picture of K2 is shown on the slide. And Pakistan is also home to world's second largest salt mines. These salt mines, I've been to these salt mines, and it's very cool because it changes the temperature, because if you visit it in the winter, it's going to be warm inside, and if you visit it in the hot weather, it gives you cooling effect. So that is a very interesting fact that I found when I visited these salt mines. The world's highest paved road, which links Pakistan and China, the Karakoram Highway, it's also in Pakistan. It was built by Pakistan and China in a collaboration. And the highest polo ground in the world is also in Pakistan. And we have a polo festival in the spring season, and people from all around the globe come to watch the sport of polo. And it's a very, very important factor for tourism. Now I'm going to talk about schools in Pakistan. The picture on this slide is from my very own school that I went. You can see that the children are wearing uniforms, and most of our work we do it by handwriting. Like, we don't use Chromebooks as in America. We have to handwrite every single thing, and then we have a textbook, and then we have a notebook, and we use both of them. And that's what a general classroom in Pakistan would look like. So in Pakistan, as I said, that we wear uniforms in school, and the students stay in class, and the teachers are the ones who rotate. This is something that I found in America. Like in American schools, the students are the one who move from in every period they go from class to class, but the teachers, they have their own specific room. But in Pakistan, we would stay in the same class, and the biology teacher would come teach biology, and she would leave, and then the math teacher would come. So that was a very different part. And we do not have many electives, unfortunately. um, there's a list of set subjects, and we have to take them. So most of them are compulsory. There's not many options for electives, and you stay with the same group of students. So I finished high school in Pakistan, and I was with the same group of people since kindergarten, because we would stay in the same class, and we knew each other our whole life. So I'm going to talk about the rich and vibrant culture of Pakistan. As you can see in the photo, this is a very, very typical northern uh, costume. People in the north, because it's cold, they wear this very typical traditional dress, and that's how it looks like. Okay, so as you can see in this photo, the first photo is from a wedding event. Our wedding events are super fun, and our weddings are like very long. And this is how the festivities look like. The second picture, it's a truck, and I've seen very different trucks in America, but this one's a very different one because it's very decorated. It's colorful. You can see a peacock on the truck, so it just shows how much how much decoration is put into the truck. Another picture is of the earrings. We love jewelry, and we love to add designs in our jewelry. So that's a picture of that. On the top right corner are bangles. We wear bangles on weddings, on our festivals, and on some of our holidays. And even if I love bangles, I wear them all the time in Pakistan, and that's a very important part of Pakistani culture. And the top left corner, it's a picture of a bride and groom, and you can see the bride's dress is very detailed, and it's bright red color, which is very typical of a Pakistani wedding. And these are some of the pictures representing Pakistani culture. Henna is a very important part of our culture. This is me doing henna for one of my American friends, and she just loved it. So the food it's very different from what I had in America. It was very spicy, and there was a lot more flavor. And I'm going to talk about some more food in the next slide. Okay, so we do have dinner tables, but most of the times we eat on mats. We do not use fork, knife, and spoons most of the time. We prefer to eat with our hands, but when time comes, we do know how to use a spoon and a fork. Um, we pray before and after eating, like we would bless the food, and afterwards we would thank God for the food that we have. As I said earlier, food is spicy, and we have 3 meals a day: breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Breakfast is our heaviest meal, um, and lunch is around like 1, and dinner's around like 8, 9 p.m., like a little later than people have it in America. Um, Also, roti is it's like a tortilla, but it's made of wheat. And roti and rice are our staple foods. Um, okay, tea is a very important part of Pakistani culture. Like, I love tea. I used to have it 3 times a day when I was in Pakistan. And we call it chai. So if you come to Pakistan, it's a must have. You have to have chai. It's sweet. It's like it's brown in color. And I'm sure you all must have had some form of chai in your life, but it's a very, very good. I love chai. And pickles are very common in Pakistan. We would make a curry and we would have roti, and then we would serve some pickle on the side, and it just adds more flavor to the whole meal. This is a picture of our cricket team. Cricket is a very important sport in Pakistan, and that's our national cricket team. So some of the personality traits about Pakistani people are very hospitable, they're traditional, they're friendly. As you can see in the first picture, it was right before a week when I came to America. Me and my friends had a goodbye party for me, and yeah, we were just having fun. On the top right corner, there's this woman wearing all the traditional. You can see how like she's wearing a nose ring and all her jewelry. So that's a very traditional picture. And also in Pakistan, we have this tradition that the youngers greet the elders first. And if you're in a room and then you see an elder walk in, you stand up in respect and you offer them a seat. And Pakistanis are huge cricket fans, as I already talked about this. And there's this picture of bats. So they're like cricket bats, and they're just decorated, like painted, and we love cricket. In Pakistan, we don't have sleepovers. Like I had my first sleepover in America. So this is something that's not very common in Pakistani culture. I did not hang out with my friends back home because the school's very hard, and most of my time was spent studying. So I did not have like a lot of time to after school to go and hang out with my friends. Also, I was with my friends like the whole day in school, so we didn't feel like there was a need of going anywhere outside school. Although we did have some monthly hanging out plans, and we would go watch a movie or grab some food or do a small picnic, not on a daily basis. In Pakistan, we do not move out after when we're 18, and the boys are more independent. I'm saying this because I'm the biggest example of a girl living in America by herself. So that does not mean that girls are not given any freedom and independence, but it's just that it depends on the family, and parents do not like put their choices on their children, but you have to have like a certain level of trust on your child. And I think that's a very good part in my family and in most of the families in Pakistan. And this is the pictures on this slide are me and my grandfather, my grandma, and me and my cousins. This was just like an hour before I left for the airport. So I'm going to talk about the marriages in Pakistan. This is the top, the right picture is my mom. She was dressed up for a wedding. So our weddings are like, we have 3 days minimum. The first day is henna day. We put henna on the bride's hands, and we all do henna, and then we have some dances and we sing songs. And it's basically just like, it's a very chill, but we dress up. And we wear our jewelry, and it's my favorite day of all the weddings. And then the second day is it's basically when the couple do their vows, and the third day is the reception. So that's that's how the weddings go. So the festivities last longer. We have extravagant dresses, and the decorations are like, people spend so much money on their weddings in Pakistan. And yeah, we do heavy dresses, we do henna, and also the people stay at the bride or groom's house. Like in a picture, it was my cousin's wedding, and for her wedding, I stayed at her house. And we all had so much fun. And yeah, this is something about marriages in Pakistan. So houses in Pakistan. So we have concrete houses in cities, mud houses in the villages, and wood houses in the mountains. And there's a picture of each on the slide. The top one is a wood house in the mountains. The bottom left one is a mud house, and the bottom right is a concrete house. My house is a concrete house because I live in a city. Mud houses are kind of becoming less common in Pakistan because of it's a developing country, so we are developing. And but if you go to a village, you'll at least see one or two mud houses, and it's very cool. Honestly, I love mud houses. So it's time to learn some Urdu. It's the next slide. It's the next slide. Yes. So hello is Assalamu alaikum in Urdu. Goodbye is Khuda Hafiz. Please is Barai Meherbani. Thank you is Shukriya. Yes is Ha. No is Nahi. And my name is Tagreed would be Mera naam Tagreed hai. I know this is very hard and it was kind of fast, but yes, and that was my presentation. I hope you guys liked it, and I'm open for any questions.
Sweet. Awesome. Thank you so much, Tagreed. That was an amazing presentation. That was very, very fun to listen to. If anybody has any questions, please put them in the chat. I also have a few questions of my own, but I'm just going to go look at the chat and I'll answer any questions. I'll just read them off to Tagreed. But if you have any questions, just type them in the chat, or you can unmute yourself. But for now, I'm just going to start with the ones in the chat. So let's see. Are those colorful dresses daily clothes, or are those only for holidays?
They're mostly for holidays, but the daily ones are like almost the same, but a little bit less heavy and a little bit less extravagant.
Nice, nice. What is henna and why is it important?
So henna is basically it's a henna plant, and we crush the leaves and make a paste, and we put it on our hand. It's like a temporary tattoo, and it's important. It's important because it's first of all, we like to do it on our weddings because we think it's beautiful, and it shows the creativity of the artist, and it's just beautiful. It's simply beautiful.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Caroline asks, what's your favorite food?
In Pakistan, it's biryani. Biryani is rice, and you could either add chicken or beef in it, and it's very spicy. And it's my favorite. It's called biryani.
Very nice. Well, I just have my own follow-up question, but what do you think your favorite food in America is?
Probably tacos.
Very nice.
I love tacos. Yeah, and also Italian pasta.
Nice, nice. Let's see. How long are your school hours? Are they from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m.?
My school hours were from 7 till 2, so that's 7 hours.
Very nice. What was the biggest difference between America and Pakistan?
I think food and culture. Culture is very different. It would be so hard to compare the two countries because it's all across the globe, like both the countries, and it's a whole different world in America than it was in Pakistan because, as I said, the food was different, the people are very different, the whole culture is different, the language, food, everything.
Let's see. I think Corinne is asking, I hope I pronounced that right. Which languages are spoken in Pakistan besides Urdu, if any?
Yeah, so we have our provincial languages. So I live in the province of Punjab and I speak Punjabi. The northern province, they speak Pashto. The southern province, they speak Sindhi. and the Western province, they speak Balochi. So there are like besides Urdu, there are four major languages: Punjabi, Sindhi, Balochi, and Pashto.
Wow. Wow. Next question. Why can't you move out until 18?
Because as a girl, I would move out when I get married. So, and as a boy, I could move out like after I get married. It's just a cultural thing. I think parents want to live with their children until they think that they're like fully capable of moving out. And they think that 18 years is not long enough when they're like mature and they can take care of themselves.
Mm, very nice. Okay, so I don't see any more questions in the chat, but I would love to have like open it up to people who want to unmute themselves if you have any questions. So if anybody has any questions right now, feel free to just unmute yourself and you can ask Tagreed yourself. Maybe you can turn on your camera and ask her. But I'll just give people a couple seconds to do that.
Hello.
Hi.
Here's college students from China, and thank you for your sharing. It broadened my horizon, and I'm also very curious about what percent of high school students in Pakistan can get opportunities of going abroad as exchange students.
So I applied for this program in my freshman year, and there were 7,000 students who applied for this program, and only 77 got selected. So the opportunities are not like a lot, but it depends on like how much potential you have. So it's like if you really are passionate about it, and if you really try hard, and you get selected, you can come to America. But I would say like probably like 10%.
Wow, so you are brilliant.
Thank you.
Thank you. I think it's say shukriya in Urdu.
Oh,
is it right?
Yeah, you're right. You're doing an awesome job.
Shukriya.
You're welcome. That is
You're
so
welcome.
nice. I'm so glad you learned that.
Thank you very much.
So nice talking to you.
Me too.
Awesome. That was so cool. That was so cool. Any other questions? Feel free to unmute yourself, turn on your camera, ask Tagreed. I'll give you a couple seconds more to do that.
Oh, hi. So I was wondering, do you think that Urdu is like hard to learn? Is it like harder than English or like easier?
Honestly, I may not answer that question correctly, because I knew Urdu. I didn't have to learn it, but I had to learn English. So I would say, so I don't know how it would feel like to learn Urdu, because I knew it. But I feel like it's the grammar is harder than English. But once you kind of like know where to put which word goes where in the sentence, it becomes easier. But the pronunciation of a few words might be difficult, but if you really want to learn something, I think nothing is impossible.
Oh, all right. Follow-up question, if you don't mind.
Yeah, go ahead.
How long did it like take you to learn English?
So I learned when I went to school, I learned English grammar, and I learned how to read and write in school. But honestly, my fluent, like how I watched a lot of YouTube videos. I went on YouTube and I was like, how to speak English fluently. And there's honestly a lot of YouTube channels and a lot of YouTubers who kind of teach you how you can say a word or a sentence like how Americans say. So I watched those videos and I tried to listen more and more and more of those to help myself improve my listening skills. And for speaking, what I did was every day I would stand in front of the mirror and I would just ask myself questions. I had a whole show and I would just interview myself. And that's how I improved my speaking skills. So I basically started learning English in school, but YouTube also helped a lot.
Well, that's so cool. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Awesome. So I do have a question on the chat I'm going to read, and then we'll open it up to unmuting yourself. Ryan is asking, what is your plan for your university?
So right now I'm going back to Pakistan in a week and I have 2 more years of school. So I'll do that. And after that, I do really hope that I get into an Ivy League school like Harvard or Yale or Stanford or Oxford. So I have big dreams and let's see where future takes me.
I think that is so cool. Okay, any other questions in the chat? I know I definitely have my own questions. You can unmute yourself, you can put them in the chat, whatever you feel comfortable with.
你说，你现在就要练你的说。
It's okay. Make sure that you you keep yourself unmuted if you have noise going on in the background. While you guys come up with your own questions, I'm going to ask Tigreed some questions that I had when I was listening to her presentation. Tigreed, why did you choose to do an exchange year?
I think I wanted to grow as a person, as a citizen of this world, and it was very important that I step out of my own bubble and go out into the world and experience how other people live and how other cultures work. So I was very curious about that, and also I loved traveling. So when this opportunity came to me, I was like, I gotta do this.
That's so cool. Let's see. What was the hardest part of doing an exchange year?
When I first got here, oh, okay. When I first got here, the culture was very different, and I think it was not hard, but it was like a little bit different for me to kind of immerse myself in this new culture. But I came here with an open perspective, and I came here to experience this new American culture. So when I came here with an open mind, I kind of told myself, okay, I'm going into this new country. Things are not going to be how I'm used to them. And I was okay with that. So now getting into this new culture was a little bit hard, but I think I did a good job.
I think you did too, personally. Yes, go ahead, ask your question in the chat, or you can unmute yourself, do whatever. Go ahead and ask your question.
Okay, thank you, Summer. Okay, thank you, our Pakistan friend. Okay, so actually I do have a question. Okay, hopefully you can, offer your help. Okay, so actually, 1 year before, I got my boy and some other, some of his peers to read the book Manana. So yeah, actually, I think she's a very brave girl, but on the internet we can find a lot of very different opinions. Okay, so I just wonder what is your Pakistan's youngsters' opinion about about her. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Malala, we all take pride in Malala. I think she represents Pakistan on a very bigger platform. And honestly, I'm inspired by Malala. I think not every girl is brave enough to be like her, because it's not very easy to survive gunshots and to face something. I think she stood up for education, and I think that's very, very remarkable and brilliant of her to step up for a thing that she really wanted. And I'm so inspired by her, and I take pride in her. I think the whole country does.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
I love your speech. I love your presentation.
Thank you so much. I'm glad you liked it.
And thank you, Summer.
Of course, of course. I'm just in awe of everything that Degree does, so I'm very much enjoy her presentation as well. So GYP asks in the chat, if we travel to Pakistan, what do you suggest to see?
Okay, so the northern areas are like very beautiful. I think personally my favorite, because where I live it gets very hot and I just want to be in the northern areas all the time. The mountains are very pretty. Also, I think Pakistan is a country where you can experience everything. If you go to the south, there's ocean. If you go to the north, there are beautiful, beautiful mountains. If you go to the central part, there are like deserts and there are like desert forts. And we have the salt mines. I would highly recommend those. Those are very cool. And then the capital, the Islamabad, there are very cool spots in Islamabad, like the National Museum, the National Monument, and the Parliament House. So it also depends on which part of Pakistan you're visiting. But if you visit, there's definitely a lot of spots you can tour.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Awesome. Let's see here. I think I'm not sure how to pronounce, Celine. Go ahead if you have a question.
Yeah, that's what you said. My question is, since you're an exchange student and you like stayed in the US for such a long time, do you want to like immigrate or like stay here for long term based on your experience?
I would say I really had a great time in America, but Pakistan is my home, and I really want to do something for my country. So I would not say immigrate, but definitely visit my host family, my friends. I want to become an ambassador for Pakistan. So I think US would be a cool country to come and represent Pakistan. So not immigration, I would say, but definitely keep visiting my family and friends here. But I don't know, maybe immigration. I'm not sure yet.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
That was a great question. Fiona, I see that your hand is raised.
So my school now is doing a project on the SDGs, and I would like to ask you that how do you think Pakistan is doing on the SDGs? Because I want to know more about that.
So I think there are programs being implemented in Pakistan to prevent poverty, to provide clean water, and especially in my city, I do plan, when I go back, I plan on conducting workshops to teach young girls about menstrual hygiene and play my part in that. So I think we're not every city is doing something, but there are definitely some cities trying to play their role in making this world a better place.
Okay, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Awesome. Wow, these are like really good questions. I'm like learning so much right now. Let's see. Okay, so Lena's asking in the chat, for marriage, is there polygamy in Pakistan? What do you think the impact is to women?
It's not in, this has not happened in my family, but yes, there definitely is polygamy. Because in Islam, you have the permission to marry, to have 4 wives. I think if you do have 4 wives, and if you can treat them all equally, I think it's fine. But if you cannot if you have more than 1 wife and you're not treating them equally, you're favoring one and not taking care of the other one, I think it's not very human, and I would not support that. But if you have the resources to provide for 4 wives and to take care of all of them, then yes. So it basically depends on the man, how much he can provide, and if he's a good person and he's reliable, that he can actually take care of all 4 of them, then yeah.
Very nice. Any last questions in the chat? Again, if you want to unmute yourself, or you can raise your hand like Fiona and Celine have done. I think that's also really convenient. Or you can just unmute yourself, turn on your camera. But yeah, I'll just give you a couple more seconds to ask questions. I see. Okay, so GYP is asking in the chat, do you live with your extended family?
No, I live with just my family, my parents and my siblings.
Right. Any other questions? Okay, if there are no more questions, I think we would like to all give Tagreed a big round of applause. That was amazing. Thank you, Tagreed, for coming out. Thank you for taking the time to be here, and thank you to everybody who participated, who asked questions. I would just like to ask everybody to turn on their cameras, since I would love to take a group picture of all of us. So everybody turn on your cameras. It doesn't matter what you look like. You know, you could be in bed. It's okay. I've been there before. I've gone to school lessons like with my head on my pillow, and I didn't turn on my camera, but it's okay. Everybody try to turn on your cameras. I would love to see your lovely faces. Thank you, everybody, for turning on your cameras. Okay, I'm going to a couple more seconds for get people to turn on their cameras, and then we can take a group picture. No shame if you're in your bed, if you have the covers pulled up over you, it's okay. I've been there. Okay, awesome. I am going to take a picture. Everybody smile. Perfect. Gotta get all like 4 screens. Keep smiling, guys. Perfect. Awesome. Okay, thank you so much for coming out. I'm just gonna share my screen, and we're gonna end on this page. If you have any, if you want to scan the code, if you want to come to the website, please follow us on our Instagram. We have our email here, and also please scan these codes. But again, thank you so much for Tagreed for coming out. And yeah, thank you very much for coming out, everybody.
Thank you so much, Summer, for having me. I think it's really great work that you're doing and bringing out teens from all around the globe. I think it's very important that we play our part in developing philanthropy in ourselves and in the people that surround us. So I think you're doing a really good job. I'm so proud of you.
Thank you, Tagreed. I say the exact same thing about you. It's been an honor to know you, and I'm so sad that you're leaving next week. Like, I'm actually devastated. But okay, thank you so much. Before I start crying, I'm gonna say good night, good morning to wherever you guys are. Good night, good morning, good afternoon. Have a good rest of your day, or have a good night. And yes, I'm so glad that we were able to have this. And thank you so much to everybody for coming out.
Bye, everyone. Thanks so much for having me.
Thank you.